Hello.
Hello, Thomas.
You have a nice suit.
Thank you.
I hope your speech will be the same.
Thank
Good.
you. I hope so as well.
Yeah. Good luck.
Yes, thank you very much. Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for having me here. I think this is a great platform to meet fantastic people from the industry that we are working in. And of course, I came here to speak a little bit about what we are doing in Latvian football. But of course, I came here firstly to learn and to meet fantastic people here, and we'll see. So my keynote today will be on the Virslīga development strategy. So to give you a little bit of the context where we were when the Virslīga in its new history from 1991 started. Then I'll speak a little bit where we are right now and some things about the future, right? Where will it go in the upcoming years? So, but to start with a little bit about myself, about my football career, because I have never thought I will work in football or in sports. I have a financial background, and for many years I've been working in investment and banking, analyzing different investment assets, starting from very volatile, like Forex markets, till real estate markets, where I have longer cycles of investment. But and usually analyzing businesses. For 8 years, I've been working in the holding company that is engaged in construction, real estate management, and investment. So I was analyzing actually the performance of the companies within the holding and suggesting new investments for the board. So my job was always related to analyzing and creating systems. So, and I want to talk today about the system that we created in Virslīga, Football Virslīga. But my path started with the creation of amateur team back in 2008, the amateur grassroots project to play with the friends. That happened quite successful because on amateur level we won 16 cups in 3 years, everything on amateur level, and it just became passion. So it was like my all life passion to play football manager and football. So, and here I had the first opportunity to play the football manager in my life. But while working in this holding company, the owners decided to invest in football. They were having a project in futsal. And they thought, like, why not to try to play big football? Because in big football there is money coming back, there is a transfer system, so maybe something will be good. And we created the club, RFS, so I became the chairman and general manager of this club. And I'm really happy that the system and business approach that we implemented in this club still works till today. So yesterday, actually, this club made a debut in the Europe League, which is a fantastic success for our Latvian club, with a budget of 5 million to play in Europe League, where you have Manchester United with 130 times bigger budget. It's a big accomplishment. Unfortunately, we lost to Stāvja, but you can see that it's an amazing experience for Latvian football. 2 years ago, this club also was in the Conference League group stages, so it was the first international success and output. So it's also the system that was built in 2016, and it still works today. Only one employee changed. It's me. I went to work for Tonybet Virslīga. At that time, it was a different name, and all the other guys still working in this club. But you remember, that's how we started. Like a chairman and general manager was going with the flags, cleaning the stadium, because there were only 3 of us doing it, and it actually was a team only with 1 professional contract, I guess, at that time. So now it's a big team, and I think one of the biggest in the Baltic states. So then in 2017 we had an elections in the board of the Virslīga due to multiple reasons. They were not, so the league was not meeting expectations of the clubs because the new sponsors, new investors came to Latvia. And I was elected as a president in 2017. So in 2018 I was combining my work in the club and the league, and then they decided to quit the club and fully concentrate on the league and managing the league. And also during that time, since 7 years, I've been in multiple committees within the UEFA, in the board of the European Leagues, which is association of all professional leagues, including Premier League, Serie A, Bundesliga, and the smallers like Slovakia, Iceland, Kazakhstan, and others. And in multiple committees within the Football Federation of Latvia. So that's still, I'm working with the league. And what's the league? Virslīga is now association of 10 clubs. 2 giant clubs, I would say, that is working. So Riga FC and RFS, 2 biggest clubs from the capital, but we have a nice geographical representations from smaller towns. You may see Audi is coming from a small town with 5,000 people just living there, but they play now games in Riga. So it's association. We organize the competition, 36 match days, 180 games, and the system that we created now, I think it reflects a lot about what is happening in Latvian and the Baltic football. But in order to start talking about today, we need to talk a little bit about the past. Right, so Virslīga was created in 1991. Of course, before German and Soviet occupation, we had also Virslīga, but we count as a new history from 1991. And you might see the first cycle, and usually we'll see that it's more like a subjective thing, but I think our football, in general, a lot of processes developing into cycles, in 5 to 10 cycles. And here I divided it into 7-year cycles. So first 2 cycles of 7 years, you might see the Skonto FC absolute dominance in Latvian football. So 14 titles in a row. It's still the record in UEFA territory, so 14 consecutive titles. Only Redims from Gibraltar has the same record. And one club in Europe now can do this the same. Do you know the club? Who is now the next year they can reach this level? No? Ludogorets from Bulgaria. Valdes Dombrovskis was actually helping Ludogorets to get these titles, so he won for them as well. And so the bad thing about it, the worst competitive balance. So at the start of the competition, you already know who will be the champion, because the biggest resources, infrastructure, the best academy, so everybody wanted to play in the Skonto. But the good thing, you see, Euro 2004. So almost all players of that national team that participated in Portugal in 2004, and at that time there were only 16 teams participating in Euros, now it's 24, right? It was an incredible achievement, but almost all players either were playing that time at Skonto or sometime back. And of course, this time, it was a great platform for advertising our players, and a lot of players went to top 5 competitions. So at that time, we had 4 players in English Premier League, which is currently absolutely impossible, right? But this cycle, these 2 cycles ended after just Euros 2004, and new, let's say, forces starting appearing like here. So this last years was always very competitive. So new clubs like Liepājas Metāruks, Ventspils appeared, and this is a period of big 3 clubs, which I think was the best and the highest competition level we had in Virslīga history. And this also resulted in the club biggest success. UEFA Europa League debut for our clubs. FK Ventspils played 6 games, losing 3 games, drawing 3 games, but it was massive success due to the best competitive balance. And at that time, also Baltic League project happened for the first time. So somebody of you maybe remember in 2007, there was created a Baltic League, which was a disaster, related to some problems, teams playing with reserve teams, because there were no incentive. Because it was not a Baltic League competition, it was simultaneously happening with the domestic competitions without any incentive. So the teams played in the reserve teams, then there were some match fixing problems, and everything just collapsed. So to my mind, a brilliant idea that was spoiled by the poor management and without creating a bad system, right, without any incentive. But that period ended with 2013. And here, this is, I would say, the most challenging period of Virslīga history. Match-fixing problems, the extinction of Big 3. So all these clubs, bankrupt, relegated, not restarted new life from the 3rd division. Metalurgs disappeared. The new club appeared on this ashes. Liepāja, Skonto disappeared. Right, due to poor management, due to these actually clubs, like many clubs, they are heavily dependent on the owner's money. So usually our clubs in Baltics are financed either by municipality, for example, like in Lithuania, or by high net worth individuals like Latvia, or by academies and sponsors. So when the problem started in the business for the owners, clubs disappear. And here, this is the time where RFS entered and Riga entered the competition, so the biggest 2 clubs. So this is where the new investors came in, and what's happened? High Latvian players inflation, salary inflation. So the new owners coming, they have a big appetite for the wins. So, and the pool of the players is very limited. So they're trying to chase these players, attracting them to come to the teams. Of course, we know from the economics, short demand, high supply, the prices are going up. So the salaries of the players just doubled or tripled in one season. But the level of the football didn't change. So it got a big pressure on the league, on the clubs, especially on the small clubs. So we had to do something, invent a new system. And this is where the elections happened in the Virslīga. This is where the new board was elected. And this is where we started thinking about the new system of Virslīga. So what we had in 2019, the heritage that we had no CEO, one part-time employee, no office, no documents physically, no strategic plan, budget of 180K, 3 actually revenue sources, general sponsor, streaming rights, and a small portion of federation co-financing of 20,000. Production, all the games production with the 1-2 cameras, no HD, no fan engagement tools, no data, so you don't have a fan engagement tools, you cannot get the data, right? You don't know about your customers, you don't track how the tickets are sold, you don't have fantasy, you don't have other platforms, so no data, no CRM, match fixing issues, unauthorized data collections by third parties. So this was the first thing that we solved, and that's allowed us to get new revenues, and outdated branding and web without the registration and as I said, engagement tools. So those were internal factors, and external. No media market, no sponsorship market, high competition with ice hockey and basketball, no support from the government, poor infrastructure, and one only production company that can produce the games. So it's monopoly. So we don't have a domestic TV deal, the same as here. So we get 0 euros from the broadcaster. So we pay to the broadcasters to produce the game. So when I go to the broadcaster and I say we want to produce all the games, but to show all the games on our platform, because I want to know who is watching my games. I want to collect the data. I want them to come to sponsors and to say, listen, this is a demographic data, this is the amount of interaction, and I want to attract new sponsors. So now they say, no. We are the only company that's producing, and you will pay for 30. By the way, you will pay 30% more from this season. So this is there was a challenge to break the market, the monopolistic market. As we say, competition is the king. When you have a competition, everything is working well. So the first thing that was needed is to develop a strategy, Virslīga strategy. I had no clue absolutely what to do with the league. I was managing the club, I was also learning at that time. So I went to my office, I put on the whiteboard Virslīga, and I tried to put all the processes that Virslīga is doing, what I could imagine. I started reading a lot, I started thinking a lot about the Virslīga, and I said, we need to change, we need to have unique selling point for the league, because nobody interested and nobody can to say what is the difference between Latvian, Lithuanian, Armenian, Georgian, Bosnian leagues. So they're pretty similar. So they're small leagues that with the small clubs that are not participating in UEFA competition. So you should have a unique selling point. So, and I understood that for us, the best system is to start thinking from the stakeholders' point of view. So if we compare football or sports with a private company, what is the biggest difference? The private companies have several stakeholders. They have government, you need to pay the taxes, you need to be a transparent organization. You have client, the most important stakeholder. You do your services and product for them, and you have employees, right? So this is or shareholders if you have multiple shareholders. In sports, you have enormous amount of stakeholders. You have, for example, in football, there is a government, municipality, FIFA, UEFA, Football Federation. You have club owners, players, referees. You have fans, you have media, you have statistic companies that are gathering. So multiple stakeholders. So what we thought, what the main question is, what does it mean to develop the league? What does it mean? So I asked this question to the clubs. One club said, it's the audience in a digital area. Fair enough. Another said, it's attendance at the stadium. So if the attendance is growing, the league is developing. Fair enough. It's also, but it was not answering all the questions. So we thought like league development is actually maximizing all stakeholders' value and satisfying their needs. For example, we divided all the stakeholders in 3 groups. Environmental stakeholders that define our environment. Regulations, formats, and so on. So it's government, Latvian Football Federation, UEFA, etc. The second group are partners that help us to produce the product. And our product is the games. It's content. We're actually working in the content industry, right? People can watch Netflix, or they can go to the stadium or watch our games. So those are media, data providers, clubs, sponsors, players, referees, coaches, and there are consumers. Those are fans, clubs, owners, because we need to satisfy their needs as well. It's community. It's also players, because Virslīga is a platform for their professional skills development. So we divided them into 3 areas. Sometimes they were like copying, right? Like players, they could be, and partners and consumers. And this is the question. So, for example, for the fans, they don't care whether we, I don't know, a transparent organization, whether we pay taxes, where so they don't care. They want to come to the stadium. They want to quickly enter. They want to have a clean stadium. They want to eat fast and delicious food. They want to quickly go to the toilet, and they want to leave, and they want to enjoy the game. This is what the matters for the fans at the stadium. But media company, they're interested that there is very good internet at the stadium. There are all the cables that they can arrive and easily access the stadium. So they have a different needs. So what we did, we made a long list of all stakeholders, what they expecting from us, and what we need to deliver. And then, if you, for example, we cannot increase the attendance just like that. But if we can make a nice organization at the stadium, so the media companies coming, they know that this is the place, this is where they can connect, we improve the internet, it's already meaning developing your product. Even that fans don't see it, because fans, the majority of fans think like you come to the game, just referee drops the ball and the games happen and they leave. No, there is enormous amount of work is happening behind the scene. So that was the first thing, to have a guidelines where we go. So we talked a lot about the fans, about the media, but the most important, we came up with an action plan. So each stakeholder, what they expect and what we should do. And the KPI, of course. So the first thing that we did also, we understood that Virslīga, they have two sides, let's say. Firstly, Virslīga is association on the white side. So this is association of professional clubs that organize top-tier competition. And this is a little bit different function and goal. So our function is competition management. We meet with the clubs, we discuss the regulations, we discuss the format, we suggest these formats and regulations to the federation, they vote, and that's how we change that system. And the goal is to create environment, investment climate, that new people coming to Virslīga, they invest in the clubs, players coming to Virslīga from different countries, so they want to play here. So this is one side. The other side is a media company. So remember I said that there is no media market. So there are literally no sports journalists in Latvia. There are some enthusiasts that are doing amazing job, but the majority of them are not professionals, and so we decided we need to be that media company, that we need to produce the content by ourselves because nobody will do it instead of us. So we are a sports entertainment company that delivers sports content. We have multiple digital platforms, publications, and events, and this is a limited liability company. So there were multiple reasons. There were because of the tax authorities. Tax authorities couldn't understand how you can sell football. So remember, we started with 180,000. Now we're moving to 1 million. So tax authorities just cannot understand how it's possible. What does it mean, live data? What does it mean, selling broadcasting? So for us, it was easy to create a limited liability company. So here, our function is content production, distribution, and also centralized distribution of commercial rights. So we have an agreement with all clubs that they give us all their commercial rights, and I, through the tenders or through partnerships, I realize this commercial rights on the market. So Virslīga reforms, what we did after we created this guidelines. New structure, so 2 companies, association and commercial part. New format, we went from 8 teams to 10 teams, so we had more games. And why it was important? Because we increased our budget by 30%. So because we sell every game to the betting companies, because they collect live data from the stadiums. You maybe saw some guys sitting at the stadium with their phones and laptops and collecting data. So firstly, they were doing it illegally. When I came to the league, I saw these guys, and I never could understand what they're doing. Then I started calling other leagues, asking questions, receiving answers. So what we did, we trained all the all our staff, security staff, we put it in the regulations of the stadium and on every ticket that it's forbidden to collect data, unauthorized data. So we provided the companies with accreditations, and we sold these accreditations. So the more games you have, the more budget you have. Because remember, we started, nobody was giving us money just because we are nice guys. No, we had to make some steps to increase the budget and to produce more content and being more professional. So that was a first step. We increased the number of the games. We received 30% more budget. New regulations for foreign players. Remember I told you that we had a high inflation of the players in 2018. So what we decided, listen, we need to open the market. We need to increase the demand to lower the inflation. And we come up with the format 8-3. So now on the field there could be 8 non-homegrown players and 15 in the squad registration. But in order to make it, the small teams were against that. Why? We are having good academies. It's a problem of big new clubs. They don't have academies. Why we should do that? So it's about the systems, how you can negotiate that. So I come up with the idea, let's implement a tax for foreign players. So the big teams, they want to play in UEFA club competitions. It's understandable. So we increase the market. They can bring foreign players, but let's collect progressive tax. The more foreign players you bring to Latvia, so you take the time of our Latvian players, the more we tax you. So now, for example, for the last season, we got 600,000 euros collected from the big clubs, and we redistributed to the small clubs playing with Latvians under 21. So now everybody's happy. Small teams get the money that they can invest and they can work. The big teams are happy because they now play in Europe League and the Conference League. So this is the system, and everybody is happy. But also this system created that we became the league with the lowest players' average age. So for several years, Virslīga is the youngest league in Europe. So this is a unique selling point. So what I do, I sell the idea that Virslīga, maybe after Denmark and Belgium, because there are top players coming there for them making the first step in the career, but probably Virslīga is now the second tier competition where we have 40+ nations playing in Virslīga. You can come, if you are from Latin America, Africa, Asia, you can come to Virslīga, you can start your career in European football, adapt to the climate, adapt to the system, and 4 out of 10 our clubs are playing in UEFA club competitions. And every year now we sell the players 1 million+. So last year we had 9 million of outgoing transfer and 5 million paying for the players to come. So it's only 3 countries in Europe that have positive transfer balance. So imagine we are the youngest league, we have the positive transfer balance. Every year we sell 1 million euro plus players. Our team play in the Conference League group stage, our team now plays in Europe League stage. So it's already a nice product. Out of nowhere, we created a unique selling point that now we now distinctive from any other league, small league. But of course, we changed other things, like we produced the new calendar. Now we play with the system 1-2-2 or 2-1-2. So it does mean we don't play more than 2 games per day. We try, because there are some limits, infrastructure and so on. But we play on a lot of games on weekdays, on weekends. We split, so not to overlay the games. It's instantly increased the amount of interactions with the fans, instantly, so they can watch more games. We implemented new production standards, so the more money we received from different revenue sources, we all reinvested in the product. So now we film with 4 cameras minimum, all games in HD. We have the system implemented that streaming that is going from the stadium, it goes to the platform, and this platform automatically cuts the clips with AI. So this is an Israeli startup called WC Sports. So they cut automatically videos, and at the end of the game, it's automatically sends the clips to the national television. So previously, national television was not speaking about football at all, because you need to receive the videos, they will come after 3 hours, nobody wanted to do. Now, automatically videos are sent to the national television, and they show our clips on the news, because they also need the content. So now we have digital audience growing by 300% in the last two years, just because of this new content, and it's fresh and it's quick. Right? The stadium attendance is not so good. It's still growing by 3% only, but there are also multiple reasons for that. And first one, of course, is the infrastructure level, right? So now this is the first time our clubs are starting developing private infrastructure. So RFS opened their new stadium. Riga is planning to build it. Meta is also building. So I expect this number to grow in the upcoming years. So continuing with the Riga Virslīga reforms, we hired new employees. Now we are 6. We produce new content. We started producing not only must. I split the content into 2 groups. Must content, this is everything that related to the games, right? Before the game, during the game, after the game, press conference, highlights, all this. It's must, you need to do that. And there is wants. And wants, it's the content that reveals personalities, right? The players, the coaches. So for example, this year we started filming Coach's Voice program. So we copied this product from different platform, which is called Coaches' Voices. So that was easy. So we asked our coaches to come to the Virslīga office. We have a, let's say, how it's called, a board with the players. So, and then they tell the stories about some memorable game or the game they want. And then they're using their methodology, they're using their term, they're showing themselves how they behave. And it's very interesting content. So that's how you can reveal something new about your coaches. And we film some materials about the players, but I will speak about, because it's a lot about the future, what we want to do with the content. We have new fan engagement tools. We implement in fantasy. And we have a big projects here with the guys from Code Opera, so it's our good partners that helping us to develop all the digital system. We have an idea to develop our own fantasy league, because we're not satisfied with the third-party solutions. And even Premier League fantasy, which is really nice product, but they pay 300,000 euros per year for this product, is still not the thing that we want, let's say. We are officially licensed in the Football Manager game. That was my dream, to play Virslīga football. So when we had this opportunity, we did it, but the most important, to provide them with the credible data. So firstly, we need to improve our data credibility to collect correctly the data, and then we officially were licensed, and I'm happy that we prolonged this year for 3 years more. And we are by far the smallest league that officially licensed in this kind of top-level game. There is Gibraltar, but Gibraltar is under a UK agreement, so it doesn't count. All right. So a new commercial agreement. So every year, I secretly add to our commercial agreement with the club some things. Like, we can use this one, they can use this one. So step by step, that we centralize more and more things within the Virslīga, because only centrally we can get more value. If the clubs will go separately to sell their IP rights, their commercial rights, it's difficult. Nobody wants to do that. Everybody wants to come centrally to the league. I'll take everything like this, like streaming rights. And that's why through this commercial agreement, we have this system that clubs provide us with the IP rights of the players. We can use these pictures for the promotional materials, for earning money for the league and reinvesting everything in the product. So budget, 450%, right? We are moving to 1 million in 7 years. We will be there in 2 years, I expect, and probably that will be a ceiling for local leagues. Football, I'm not speaking of basketball. Basketball in Lithuania is doing an amazing job, and they have always been our benchmark. Official license, like 2,000 players playing fantasy league, full production international streaming deal. It's also an Eastern one, but I'll tell you a little bit later. So how much time we have? Okay. Future steps. So there's 3 main things. So now we have the system, we have a foreign system, we have a nice competition, everything is going well. We have clubs in European club competition, so nice. What we can do? Content, digital ecosystem, consumer, direct to consumer. So content, I said, we need attention, customer attention, so we sell content. We need to produce more and more interesting content, audio-visual. So you can enrich your content with the nice pictures, you can produce better fantasy, so it's super important. But everything goes to the digital era. So I expect very soon, so let me continue with the content. So for us, we are a unique company on the Latvian market. So if you go to the agency, advertising agency, they will tell you, okay, it will cost you for 20K to put your materials for 2 months on these platforms. We produce content 311 days per year. So we have 180 games. You remember, we split these games, 1, 2, 2, so we have more playing games, 101 playing game. We have 246 days of active season. So something is happening in the season, and we produce a lot of content. Our clubs produce content, media produce content, and fan base produce content. So this is our unique selling point, and you may see a lot of numbers, but the most important that you can see the tendency. So not only amount of interactions increased due to good content, due to HD quality, due to automatic cutting videos, due to all of these things. We also, as a Virslīga, engaged in several projects, community projects. For example, we also organized a conference like this 2 years ago in Latvia. We also now have a trivia game, so every month our fans go to the bar to play trivia games, answering questions about Virslīga, and everything branded with Virslīga, so it's all the time reminding that we are in a different places. You can meet Virslīga not only at the stadium or in digital or on our webpage. So the good thing that probably gives me the more optimism. So in May 2004, we reached 70,000 unique viewers on YouTube. 4 years ago, it was around 10,000. So you see that this is a momentum that we see that there is potentially, there is an audience of around 50 to 70,000 that we can grow, and so, but we need to be smart of what we are doing. And actually on every single platform, we just started TikTok, late, but you know, small organization making small steps, so we cannot do everything all at once. But this is good, and the all TV audience is around 18,000 people. So I expect that in all 3 Baltic countries there is around 60,000 people watching football or following football, going to the stadium, sometimes watching it online. No. But all the metrics grew, at least doubled during the last 2 years. Direct to consumer. As I told you previously, there is no broadcasting market in Baltics. So I doubt that there will be a company that will come and say, I want to buy Virslīga for 3 million. For example, if you take Slovakia, in UEFA rankings, we're actually 3 positions away from Slovakia. Slovakia, 8 million market. The local TV deal is around 10 million. So local broadcaster pays 10 million for Slovakian league to show the Slovakian. Yeah? Their sponsors is paying 8 million. Betting company paying 8 million per year to have it. So like €1 per one citizen, right? We by far like lower amounts, so we have almost 160,000 sponsorship deal. Is the biggest deal in Latvia, but it's like 1.8 million people, so the result is a disaster. But is the reality, is the market. So we see more and more leagues and sports organization will go to direct to consumer. And my prediction that in 5 years, even the domestic competitions will be shown direct to consumer with either streaming services or their own OTT platforms. So probably only Premier League and top 5 leagues will sell their TV rights domestically through the broadcasters, because still broadcasters paying a lot. But let's be honest, Premier League was not created by Premier League. In Premier League still, in marketing department, there are only 30 people working. It's Sky Sports who did it. Sky Sports has a 300 million marketing budget. They have 200 people working in marketing, and they produce Virslīga. So people paying £800 per year to watch Premier League. The same as we pay 25 euros in Latvia to watch the Premier League. So it's the fans and it's the media that develops the sports, develops the leagues. And as I said, domestic TV deal is the main fuel for the league development. Only Premier League, this is the first time the Premier League international deal that's selling TV rights abroad from England, it was higher than the domestic league for the first time in the future, in the history. So I see more and more companies will go to direct to consumer, especially like France now selling. They created their own platform to sell their games in UK, also OTT. Bundesliga is considering this. Premier Leagues probably will come up with Premflix in the future. Let's see. Serie A also thinking about this. So we thought like we need to move faster. We are a smaller league. We should move a little bit more faster. And from the next season, we plan next or in 2 years, we'll go fully direct to consumer. So now we show free to air. There is a broadcaster, we pay to the broadcaster shows on the TV,
they show on their digital platform, and we show all the games on Virslīga platform. So from the next season, we plan to go fully with one platform. There is registration. You pay some amount, let's say 3 to 5 euros to watch the Virslīga games per month. And that's how you build a product. Because now for me, as a league manager, for me it's better to have, let's say we have an audience of 20,000 that are paying 0 and they watch Virslīga. It's worse than I have 3,000 people paying 5 euros and I get additionally almost 100,000 to be reinvested in the product. It's better to have a smaller audience, but I track everything that they love. They're registered on our platform, they're registered on our webpage, and we move closely to the last point, digital ecosystem. That's what we want to create. So we have social media, we have official website. Currently you can watch all the games here, but you will be having OTT platform, you have official app, you have your own fantasy. Currently we're using third-party solution, but we will move to our own fantasy. So with one single sign-on system, so you register in one of these platforms, okay, social media, they're connected, but for, let's say, website, OTT, app, and fantasy, you register and you enter Virslīga digital ecosystem. You can watch the games, you can buy the ticket, you can buy the merch, you can play the games, you can do whatever you want, but we can track what you like. It's not because we want to know who you are, no. It's because we want to understand your customer patterns. We see if you buy, for example, 3 tickets for RFS games, there is a high probability that you are an RFS fan. So we can offer you some materials about how RFS players are doing in fantasy. We can offer you some discounts on tickets. We can offer you some scarves or t-shirts, some merch with a discount. We can improve your experience interacting with the league and with the club. And this system is we're going together with Code Opera. We want to do that in the next, let's say, 2-3 years, because as I said, we are very limited in our financial resources. We're making very small steps. We now finished the official web. We are now starting fantasy and official app product. And we will do that. So we will collect all the data and to make data-driven decisions and fan activations. This is the main idea. And to finish it, so why I put it here, the basic, single Baltic market creation. So to my mind, while analyzing what is happening in European football, what is happening in every professional league in Europe, I understand that the gap between us and them is really growing fast. So we can stay with the same level of football, the same level of business activities for forever. We can do that and nothing will change. But if we want to play in Europe, if we want to have these filled stadiums playing in, like RFS will do in Eintracht Arena with 55,000 people, so Ajax will come to Riga in January. If you want actually to come to January in Riga, it will be a nice testament, and we will test the fans. So the 23rd January at 10 p.m. in Riga with a stadium without the roof, Ajax Amsterdam. Please welcome. But the thing is, this is Euroclub Index. It's produced by Hypercube company. The company that is working with UEFA, they produce all the data for UEFA, they analyze all the data. They come up with a new format of the competitions that you experience now in Champions League, Europe League, and Conference League. Actually, they had a little bit idea. UEFA a little bit spoiled that because they had a Swiss system. In Swiss system, you don't know your next opponent. You win, you're at the top, you get another opponent, you lose, you go down, but you never know your opponent. UEFA did, you know all your opponents till the end. So it's not like as it was supposed to do. But there is an index, so there is 10 clubs from each our 3 countries, Baltic countries, and you may see the same pattern. It's pattern that's happening in the majority of the countries. Usually, like if we say Ludogorets in Bulgaria, one outstanding club, all others are down. We take Dinamo Zagreb, dominant force, all down. We have a better situation in Lithuania, in Latvia, and in Estonia. We have 2 to 3 to 4 teams that are competitive, that can fight for the title, that they can fight for the UEFA sports. So, and we have a long tail of smaller clubs that cannot compete, and they will never compete only if the government or like new wealthy investor will come and buy I don't know why, but they will maybe buy them and then invest a lot to compete with them. So my idea, and I think this is the only way to develop, is to create a single market where we can produce a single product. About the format competition, we created a format competition that changes 20% of the games to happen on cross-border level. So these top 4 teams to play not against these tails, because here it doesn't matter. Usually the results are 3-0 and plus. These results doesn't produce or develop the players for the big teams and for the small teams. So I want to have big teams play against big teams at some part of the competition, and then the smaller teams to play more competitive games against them, but at the third stage that these teams will still have a chance to get the UEFA spot. But this is not topic for today. What is important? The single product. Imagine if we can have 60,000 people from all 3 countries with this single sign-on system, with this digital ecosystem. At one point, you can watch all the games, you're essentially selling the tickets, you have enormous amount of data that you can dramatically improve customer experience and customer journeys at the stadiums and in the digital environment. With that, I want to finish, and it's time, I guess it's lunchtime already pretty soon. So thank you very much. This is in a nutshell what we did, a little bit about history and a little bit about the future. And I would be happy to answer your questions if you have it right now during the lunch. I will stay here today till the late evening. So thank you very much for your attention. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Maksims, for your speech. Gal turite kažkas klausimų? Would like to ask some questions? All right. Čia.
Hello, Max. As you mentioned, the stadium attendance growing up to 3%. The stadiums are owned by the clubs or the country or city, or how does it work?
You know, the stadiums owned by municipalities now is, as I mentioned, the first infrastructure started being as a private, like RFS built a private, but it's not the matter of infrastructure. It's one point, let's say it's important. But the other point, how clubs treat their customers, their fans, because the fans are the customers, but super loyal, right? So, and, but I don't like to call them customers because I'm my fan by myself, so it's the fans. So the most important to switch your approach. Today, only less than 1% of the club's revenues are coming from match day experience. So tickets, merch, everything that has happened in the stadium. So the clubs, the management, if I said so, and the owner is somewhere like there, so I'm sitting and so why should I care about the fans? Why should I do additional work to increase from 1 to 2%? It's not interesting. So what we try to do, we try to educate the clubs. We try to say that, listen, it's a long journey, but you need to build legacy. For example, in Lithuania, there is a Žalgiris, right, with a huge history. So you can use this as a leverage for the fan engagement that we see. Žalgiris was saved by the fans. So this is a big force, and they travel. And so in Latvia, the oldest club playing in Virslīga now is 12 years old. So this is the thing. You need to work hard to build the communities around the club, but it requires work. For example, RFS is doing really well. So they're cooperating with the cat house. They're making photos with the players, with the cats. Everybody loves cats, I guess so. Right, so they're making these community projects. They visit a children's house where the children without the home, without the parents living. So they do things, and they do it naturally, not because somebody pushed them. And this is a nice thing to see. But RFS now has a real community around it.
Are you happy with the answer?
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. And there is one question on the app. How to prevent clubs going bankrupt in a highly owner capital-dependent environment?
You need to build the systems, the correct systems. For example, I mentioned Meta FC. The club is with the best academy. So what's the revenue sources? They have academy. So it's not like a parents paying for their first team playing in Virslīga. No, but they have 1,000 kids playing in the academy. It's the best academy. So sponsors are coming in. So they get the sponsors' money. They're investing in the first team. And it's important for them to have a first team because all the players growing, they need to have a dream to go to the Virslīga and then move further. So they have league fund that they receive because they play with local players. So they receive 160,000 from Virslīga. They receive UEFA Solidarity money, which is increasing. Now they will have 300,000 from UEFA coming for the Solidarity, and you can use this money only in youth development. So it's already 600,000. So it's enough to play in Virslīga and to stay in Virslīga. If you want to compete for the European titles, for the position in the European competitions, Riga has 16 million budget. RFS has 5 million budget, but RFS is now on the first position, Riga on the second position. So money doesn't play football. Great systems, correct people, right people doing the right things. This is by far the most important thing. So it might be sustainable, but without the domestic product that you can sell, that fans actually value it, right? So they can pay like 3, 4, 5 euros, and then you can use this money to build a sustainable system. But it's a long way ahead.
Okay, thank you for your answer. And now the final question here.
Hello, I have 2 questions. The first one, what's Virslīga problem with one football app? Why no this season Virslīga in this app?
Actually, that happened a bit. Changes. It's all the time happening. The changes on the streaming platform. So we had 2 platforms, 11 and OneFootball. And 11 was acquired by DAZN, and DAZN has a different strategy, so they don't show smaller leagues. OneFootball, they have opportunity to take all the games, but they choose. We cannot push them to take the games. If they take, we send the stream. We send the stream for all of the games to OneFootball. So I don't know why they're not taking all of the games, but they have this opportunity to do.
And second, what's your opinion about Baltic League future?
Baltic League, I think, first of all, as I said, like the world without the football federations would be a better world for myself, because football federations, they are mostly political and mostly they are spoiled because of the UEFA money. So, for example, Latvian Football Federation, 15 million budget, 14 million coming from FIFA UEFA. Only 5% of their budget they earn with the sponsorship, and usually it's also betting companies, right? So for them, they don't understand. They don't see this wave coming, the gap between us and others. They don't see it because UEFA will sell Euro 2024, they will sell for 500 million more. They will distribute through UEFA hat-trick program more money to the federations, and you can sit and you can chill. And you will build more stadiums, you will have more parts. So they don't see it. So currently, the only forces that preventing us to make the good feasibility analysis with any companies, either Hypercube or Double Pass, whatever, to make a good analysis and analyze the system where we have 3 domestic competitions with 8 teams, with 10 teams, with 12 teams, Baltic League or something. We need to make a data-driven decision. Usually what the federations say, UEFA will be against, which is absurd because I'm communicating with the UEFA and it's a big organization. You can talk to Marchetti, Marchetti is against that. You talk to the Chefren assistant who is responsible for development of the Football Federation. He's yes, we will ready to finance that. We can give 3 million for this project. Of course, it's a talks in the corridor, right? It's not like on the paper, so it's just might be my imagination, right? But still, if you present them the idea how to develop football, I doubt that UEFA will vote against that. I doubt that. Only if the federation asks them. But the federation, they don't want to lose the control of their clubs. Because like Estonian Federation, they're completely against this project. Completely. Because the federation controls their clubs. They're funding the clubs. They give each year the money to this. And I understand that, but it doesn't help us. So currently, all the clubs in Virslīga, because I talk with them a lot, I explain them things, all 10 out of 10 for going forward. Even small teams and big teams for the Baltic system that I presented. In Lithuania, I don't know. I haven't talked to you. I guess some clubs understand this, but we need to talk. We need to explain the format. We need to explain what are the advantages and disadvantages. In Estonia, private club, Livadia and Nomikaliu made the public statements that they are for. So they want to consider. But as I say, we don't suggest doing it the next season. We suggested, let's make analysis and see whether it help us, whether it will help us to decrease the number of dead games, to improve the competitive balance, to improve our development of our players, and the second big part, commercial, whether it can drive commercial revenues and we can get this energy, because it's not about the earning more money. Budget of the league is the amount of work that we can do. That's the thing. So the bigger the budget, the better the product we can build.
So that's it. Yeah, thank you, Maksims, for your speech. We have a lot to tell. So